Peace. My name is Allah Forever. I am the owner and creator of BabyBeautiful.co, which is an online baby store that sells baby clothes. Each week I do a video that deals directly with the online baby store. The website is BabyBeautiful.co, so you can find it at that website. But each week I do a video that pertains to that online baby store. And I also have a message that I bring along with the online baby store. So today's message is going to be pertaining to something that I want to deal with. And after that, then I'm going to go into my presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video, and then after that video, I'm going to go into my presentation. So just be patient with me until the video is completed, and then I will deal with my presentation.
So Usher is in the news, and unfortunately, he's in the news not for a new album. So last week, it came out that Usher Raymond IV paid a woman $1.1 million in hush money because he gave her herpes. Yes, Usher has herpes. Now, he contracted herpes back in 2009, around the time period that he filed paperwork against his wife at that time, Tamika Foster. Now, we don't know how he got herpes. We don't know if maybe she cheated, gave it to him, maybe he cheated. We don't know, but he has herpes. Now, there has another woman that came out saying she was going to sue Usher for $10 million for exposing her to the STD. Now, this woman claimed that when she was having relations with Usher, that he had a green discharge came out of his genitalia. And he explained it as he didn't have anything, he didn't know what was wrong, and he just lied to this woman. They end up continuing having a sexual relationship. Well, the woman said she ended up getting fever and chills and in pain. She went to the doctor, and the doctor told her, yes, you have tested positive for herpes. So she upped her lawsuit to $20 million that she's suing Usher. Now, Usher Raymond, you are one dirty guy. You dirty as hell. How you gonna sit out there, go raw dog with all these females, hot dick and everything? What's wrong with you, man? You know you had that disease since 2009. And some people will probably put hands on you, or even worse, for giving them a disease they can't get rid of, because herpes always come back. And this guy has literally ruined himself and ruined his career. All you had to do was take responsibility and tell people if you're going to get involved with them, you have that, and it's wrong for you to lie to people and do this. It's utterly wrong. What's going on with you and Charlie Sheen? Because Charlie Sheen was another one. Let's not forget about him. He out there spreading HIV to women, but the media didn't talk about that too long. But I'm going to bring it back up because we would definitely want to keep some balance. So you and Charlie Sheen out here spreading nasty, vile diseases to women. Don't say anything, but you want people to be on your side. It don't make sense to be out there doing that. This is why, if you're going to go out there participating in all kind of relations and hot dicking and all this other stuff, use protection. Don't put your mouth places that you also put protection on. For instance, it's so stupid if you're using protection and then you're going to put your mouth somewhere that you're trying to protect your other part of your body at. That's dumb. I mean, y'all have to start thinking some of the things that y'all are doing. And what is wrong with a monogamous relationship? What's wrong with that? Why can't you stay faithful to one person and do what you need to do with them? Why? I mean, it's dangerous out here. They got all kind of super diseases coming out, and y'all playing around? Y'all think this thing is a game and a joke. And you should feel humiliated, horrible, and anything else, Usher, for what you're doing. And yes, you got the money. You can pay any lawsuit you want. You're worth $180 million. But the simple fact is, anytime people see you now, they're gonna be looking at you like, Man, us got herpes. Be shaking their head at you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna be out there doing your thing, use protection. Use it. Preferably get in monogamous relationships and stay there. Stop being between the legs or letting some man run up in you every other day. I mean, we really wasn't meant to be doing that sort of thing. Obviously, because you wouldn't have all these kind of diseases running around in society. So this man has to sit up there and deal with outbreaks every so few months or whatever. That is a utter shame. The women that had sex with this man unprotected is also your fault as well. If he didn't want to do it, you should have said something at the time. But it don't matter if he's Usher or whoever else that a guy's supposed to be. Use protection if you're not in a monogamous relationship with these people. You know, we don't talk about this enough in the black community. We're always having people laying around with each other with no protection. Y'all forgot HIV is out there, and herpes, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and all those other STDs is out there. They haven't went away. Just because people don't talk about it every single day, it's still there. But make sure that you wrap it up. And ladies, make sure that you make him wrap it up.
Okay, that's the end of that. I want to deal with that before I go into my presentation because I think it's a very important issue. We have too many young brothers and sisters dealing with each other in relationships, and they are not really conscious of the venereal diseases that they can spread between each other. So I want to deal with that because oftentimes we don't address issues that need to be addressed. Last week I spoke about dealing with self-transformation, how we have to first deal with the issues that lie within ourselves before we start to begin to deal with things on a larger scale. Well, those are some of the things that I was really speaking about. When you have diseases being transmitted from male to female or from female to male, whichever way it goes, this is very dangerous and unhealthy. So we need to really be conscious of the kind of relationships that we involve ourselves in. Because many times we just make decisions at the spur of the moment to have sex with someone that we don't really know. So we need to really be conscious of the decisions that we make to indulge in having sex with someone that we don't even know. We don't know their history, we don't know their background, we don't know what kind of sexual relationships that they've been involved in or are involved in. So we have to be conscious of these things because gonorrhea, syphilis, chlamydia is serious. But even more, herpes is the number one sexually transmitted disease that you have for life. It is estimated by some statistics that 3.7 billion people in the world is infected with herpes. Let me say that again. It is estimated by one statistic that 3.7 billion people in the world is infected with herpes. That is a lot of people, considering the fact that there's 7 billion people on the planet. That is more than half of the population of the planet. 3.7 billion? That is a ridiculous number. It says that 1 out of 6 people are infected with herpes. And that 85% of the people that are infected don't even know that they are infected. This is serious. So we need to be conscious of the decisions that we make to have sex with someone else, because we don't know the background of these people or their history. And diseases is very serious, considering the fact that you can spread it from one person to another person without even knowing it. And not to mention that women suffer the most from these diseases because of the fact that they produce children. And in many cases, you had women that were infected with a STD, sexually transmitted disease, and that in turn infected her child before the child was even born, even brought into the world. So this is serious. We need to be conscious of this. Now, we live in a crazy society where people have these ideas that they can just have sex freely without any consequences behind it. That is not true. Because many of us don't realize that there's consequences behind making a choice to have sex. And that's not restricted to just young people. That is older people also. See, oftentimes they speak about young people, but they don't talk about the older people that are infected and are being infected with all kinds of diseases. But it applies to anybody that choose to make a decision to have sex with someone else unprotected and unconscious. Because although you may wear a condom when you have sex with a female, that does not protect you 100%. So even wearing a condom, you can be infected with one of these venereal diseases. So don't be under the false assumption that because you have a condom, you can just go around and have sex with anybody. Just put your condom on. No, that is not true. That is far from the truth. Because many of these condoms are not fully protecting a man from being infected by a woman, or a woman being infected by a man. So don't believe the myth that because you have a condom that you can go around having sex with anybody, anytime, anywhere because you have a condom. Don't believe those myths, because they are not true. Remember that many people don't even think about the fact that someone that they're about to have sex with can possibly be infected. They don't even think about that. She just looked good, or he may be real handsome to her. So they base it upon that. Because she looked good, or he may be handsome, that is not a criteria to determine that you should have sex with this person. Looks should not be the means by which you choose to make a decision to have sex with someone. Or because they have a fancy car, or because they have a lot of money, or it appears that that is the case, or because they dress real well, have on the best clothes. No, those are not reasons why you should make a decision that could possibly endanger your life by having sex with someone else. It doesn't matter what the clothes they wear, how they look, the car they driving, how much money it may appear that they have. No, those are not reasons why you should make a decision to have sex with someone. That is ridiculous to even use that as a measurement by which to make an important decision in your life to have sex with someone else. Because you endanger your life and subject yourself to catching one of these STDs. And even worse, you may be infected with AIDS. See, oftentimes people don't speak about being infected with the AIDS virus because all these other venereal diseases take the place of that. But in many cases with these venereal diseases, there's a cure for them, except herpes. There's not a cure for that. But herpes is not a disease that you automatically been sentenced to death when you have it. No. There's treatment for it to help keep it under control, but not to cure it. But chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis, there's a cure for them. But because there's a cure for them, that doesn't mean that you go out and have sex with anybody because it's a cure. No, that's ridiculous. You need to be informed about a person's history and background before you decide to make a decision to have sex with them. This is serious. I had a brother call me last week, a brother that used to work at another job that I worked at. And he called me last week, young brother, he about, 28 years old. He called me, and in the process of us speaking, I asked him, whatever happened to that young sister that you was dealing with, that day you went to meet her when me and you was leaving the job? He said, oh yeah, let me tell you about her. He said she started avoiding me, and I didn't know why. So, I'm calling her, but she's not returning my calls. She's not answering her phone. So he said one day she showed up at his house and told him the reason why she wasn't calling him and she was avoiding him was because she was infected with herpes. She got infected by her ex-boyfriend. So he said he was taken back by that. He didn't know what to say. But she told him, but I only have one. I don't have two. I have the less one. What does that mean? I mean, you have herpes 1 and you have herpes 2. Herpes 1 is where you get the sores and all that in your mouth. Herpes 2 is where you get the sores and the blisters on your private parts. But basically it's the same thing. You are infected with the disease of herpes that there's no cure for it. So it doesn't matter whether you have 1 or whether you have 2. But from what he told me, she appeared to lessen the fact that she had it by saying she only had 1 and not 2. Meaning that it was okay. No, it's never okay to be infected with a disease. That's never okay. And it doesn't lessen it because you have 1 rather than 2 in the category of the disease. No, that doesn't mean anything. The fact that you are infected with a disease says that there's a problem and something is seriously wrong. Now, how do people get infected with diseases? Let's deal with that for a minute. Diseases are spread from person to person because of a failure to deal with proper hygiene. Let me say that again. Diseases are spread from person to person because of a failure to deal with proper hygiene, meaning cleansing yourself properly after you have engaged in sex with someone or before you engage in sex with someone. Meaning, if you're not clean from the beginning, then you subject other people that you decide to have sex with to your filthiness. And on the other hand, if you had sex with someone and then you didn't clean yourself properly, and then you went and had sex with someone else, now you still have bodily fluids on you from the intercourse that you had with someone prior to you going to have sex with this person. Meaning before you went to have sex with that person, you already had sex with someone else, but you didn't cleanse yourself. You didn't do anything. You just went and had sex with someone else. That is filthy behavior. And last week I spoke about changing our mindset, changing our values, our morals, our principles, changing our behavior and our actions. Behavior and actions, that's a part of behavior. So we have to be mindful that diseases will not be able to be spreaded if people were, number one, conscious of the fact that there is diseases out there and that you must be very careful in how you decide to have sex with someone else. No one is suggesting that you shouldn't have sex. I'm not suggesting that at all. What I'm saying is you need to be conscious of who you choose to have sex with. You need to know their history and their background. I'm going to tell you what, when I was a young man, what I started doing was taking females to the clinic before I even had any sexual relationship with them. Because that told me that she was okay. And when I took her to the clinic, we both got checked. So now she knows that not only is she okay, but I'm also okay. So now if we decide that we want to do something, we can do it because we both are okay. Now, of course, many people will find that today, I ain't going through all that. Well, if you don't, then you will subject yourself to being a victim, or possibly someone else being a victim from you of having some STD that you may not even know about, because it's estimated that 85% of the people that is infected with STDs, which is herpes, don't even know it. Because in many cases, the symptoms don't appear as fast or as frequent as they appear in other people. And some people, they know right away because the symptoms tell them that something is wrong. Some people, it lies dormant, meaning it is hidden within your body and you don't even know it because it hasn't surfaced yet. It lies within you, hidden. You don't know it. Your body's hiding it from you. So you're having sex with other people and you're passing this and you don't know you're passing it because you don't even know you have it. That's why it's good to go to the clinic and get a checkup. Going to the clinic to get checkups for STDs, they have a lot of free clinics, so you don't have to pay for it. There's many free clinics. Many of us have phones, computers. You can look it up, and they'll tell you exactly where to go. And you can go get checked out free of charge. Now let me speak about sex for a moment, because it's a wonderful thing to experience. Sex. I mean, no one would disagree with that. It's a wonderful experience to have. No one definitely would disagree with that. But we must be mindful that although it's a wonderful experience to have, it's even better when we do it with someone that we share something with other than just sex, or that we know their history and their background. That's the number one, that we know their history and background. Because we may want to indulge in sex with this person. Of course, that's normal, natural, to want to have sex with the opposite sex. But we don't think about the possibility that this person or yourself could be infected with some kind of STD, sexually transmitted disease, or even AIDS. You don't know because you're just having unprotected sex with people that you don't know their sexual history. You have to be mindful of these things. If you don't know the sexual history of someone that you are about to enter a sexual relationship with, you subject yourself to danger and you subject that person to danger, because not only do you don't know their sexual history, you may not even be conscious of your own. You may have had sex with a female and you don't know if she was infected or not, or several females that you don't know if they was infected, or that you was infected and you may have infected them. That happens all the time. But it's not highlighted because many people, in most of the cases, can just go right to the clinic, get treated, and then it's over. But with herpes, that's not the case. You have that for life. And AIDS can kill you. So I think you need to be mindful of making a choice to have sex with someone because they may look good, or they may be dressed well, they may have a fancy car. All these things are not reasons to make a decision to have sex with someone. Now, all those things can be true. They may dress well, may look good, may have a fancy car, all that may be true. And it could possibly be real if you just check them out. All that can still be true. If they're checked out, everything is good, okay. You decide that's what you want to do that. But we have too many cases where that is not what is happening. We need to be mindful of the kind of choices we make to indulge in having sex with someone and the consequences behind that. Because even people who are in monogamous relationships still subject themselves to be infected with some kind of disease. Because although they may be in a monogamous relationship, meaning that they're just dealing with one person, or at least they believe they're just dealing with one person, that may not oftentimes be the case. You may believe that, and this person may lead you to believe that, but they may be dealing with someone else too. And you don't know about it. Or they're dealing with someone else and you do know about it. Or multiple people and you do know about it. And they subject you to that. So it works many different ways. So sex is, like I said, a wonderful experience, but is it worth you taking chances on your life, taking chances on your health by just doing it with anybody at any time, anywhere? And I went through all that when I was a teenager, so I'm not speaking from a perspective of someone who never experienced this. I went through all that. I did all that. I had sex with so many different females. I mean, I dealt with all of that. Because I too wasn't thinking about none of that. I wasn't thinking about I could possibly infect this female or she can possibly infect me. I wasn't dealing with the best of hygiene. No, I wasn't doing none of that. See, whenever I speak on any video, many of the things that I speak about, I've already experienced that. I've already went through that. It was years ago, but yeah, I've already went through it. So I'm bringing the best of my knowledge and experience to each video in hopes that that will make a difference, have an impact, bring about a change in the decisions and choices that anybody that watch my videos will make in their own life. Because the decisions and choices I made in my youth was a mess. So I'm saying I'm bringing this in hopes to reach many, not just young brothers and sisters, but also those who are older and more experienced and think that they really know, but really don't. They are also subjecting themselves to sexually transmitted diseases that could endanger their life and alter their life in some kind of way. Because herpes, although it's not a death sentence, meaning that you will automatically die when you're infected with it, doesn't mean that. But still, you are infected for life. That means that that is a life-altering disease, meaning that it will change your life. It will change your life in the sense that now you must be conscious of when you decide to have sex with someone else, because if you get the symptoms, because many times you don't know when the symptoms is going to come back, because they appear, disappear, or reappear. So you have to be mindful every day of your life now of the fact that these symptoms can come back at any given time. So if you meet somebody, you have to inform them that you are infected with herpes. That is an embarrassing and humiliating thing to have to deal with. No male or female want to have to deal with that. But one statistic said that it is estimated that 3.7 billion people on the planet is infected with herpes. And it went on to say that 85% of the people that's infected with herpes don't know it. That is a large number. I mean, even if it's questionable about the number, whether it's true or not, or whether it's that high or not, still, the fact that it is estimated to be that amount should be something alarming to all of us. as to how we make decisions, our behavior, and how we decide to deal with someone else with sex. We must be mindful of that. Because many times people don't even speak about this. They meet somebody, that person like them, they like the person, they have sex. And in many of those cases, they're not wearing condoms. They're doing it unprotected. Now, my idea about that is that if you have to wear a condom with anybody, you shouldn't be having sex with that person. Because if you have to wear a condom, you shouldn't be having sex with that person. If you even have to question anything in regards to having sex with this person, you shouldn't do it. Automatically, if you have any question about it in your mind, you shouldn't do it. Because see, I'm not an advocate of condoms. Because the fact that you are thinking about wearing a condom, or the fact that condoms are used by people in itself is questionable to me. If you are running around having sex with people that you feel you have to use condoms with because of whatever reasons, because you don't want them to get pregnant, or you don't want to pass nothing or have anything passed to you. If it's either one of those reasons, you shouldn't be doing it. The purpose of sex is for procreation, not recreation or gratification. Let me say that again. The purpose of sex is for procreation, meaning to produce children, not for recreation or gratification, meaning just to do it like you play basketball, recreation. You don't have nothing else to do, or for gratification. You just want to feel good. That's not the purpose of sex. See, so we've gotten away from the real purpose of sex. Sex is supposed to be a beautiful and wonderful experience that you go through with someone that y'all have a commonality, that y'all share a mutual understanding between each other, that there is possibly a future that y'all are looking towards. Now, of course, I know that is something that is far from the mind of people when they think about having sex with someone. But that's why we have all the problems that we have. All the diseases, all of the pregnancies, all of the babies that's being born in the world that are unwanted, wasn't planned, and all of the child support cases in the court system. Because we're not looking at that. It all starts from having sex, the decision that we make. So I'm saying the root of the problem is not that many females are having babies that are unwanted by either her or the man that she's having a baby by, or both of them. And that you are also just having sex for the purpose of having sex, for recreational gratification. Those are not the root of what the problem is. The root of what the problem is our behavior, the way we think, our values, our morals, and our principles. We have been conditioned through our behavior and our actions to think that our sex is just a normal thing. It's natural. Yes, sex is a normal thing. It is natural. Those things are true. But doesn't mean that because something is normal and is natural, that you do it with anybody at any given time, anywhere. That doesn't mean that either. You have to always use your intelligence, your common sense, your rationale when you make decisions like that. You don't just have sex with anybody, anywhere, at any time. Because that is what the image that is projected in the society and the world in which we live, where you see all kinds of images that show you that. Years ago, they used to have this thing in Atlanta called the Freaknik. Now, the Freaknik was a bunch of college students coming together, partying and dancing and dealing with drugs and alcohol and having sex. But the main thing that they focused on was, with the Freaknik, was all these college students on their break from college, getting together and having sex. Yeah, they was partying, getting high, alcohol and drugs, but the main thing was they was having sex. Everybody having sex with everybody. It got to the point where this Freaknik that they did every year was creating so many problems to Atlanta that as the years went on, they completely eliminated it. Because they was blocking traffic, people couldn't get by. I mean, it was all kinds of fights and all type of stuff happening. So they decided to close it down. But what many people did not speak about, that was well known at the time, was that many of these people that was coming from all these colleges and universities and going to Atlanta for the Freaknik, many of them was either infected with diseases or being infected with diseases because they was having sex with anybody. They just meet them right there. Some of them was just having sex right there. They wasn't going to a hotel. They wasn't going to their house. They were just having sex right there. Like animals. I mean, this was ridiculous. And this kind of behavior is as a result of the kind of society and world in which we live, where sex has been devalued, where people don't even value sex anymore. They just want to do it to feel good. They don't value it. They don't look at it with respect. No. That's why you have so much prostitution. You have women that prostitute themselves, meaning they sell sex, their sex, for money. And then you have many men that don't have a problem with paying her for sex because it's became a normality. Remember, I spoke about last week in the video how our behavior, values, morals, and principles, and our actions is as a result of our conditioning. It is now a normality that we don't see anything wrong with it because we've been conditioned to act, think, and behave a certain way. So that's why today, with sex, we don't see anything wrong with it. We've been conditioned to think, act, and behave a certain way through the society and the world in which we live. As a result of the false information, miseducation, and indoctrination, we deal with sex coming out of that conditioning. We don't think in terms of sex being natural and normal for procreation. We think of sex being natural and normal for recreation and gratification, not for the purpose of procreation. That just happens. That's the end results of having sex. But that wasn't the intent on having sex. And that says that there's something seriously wrong with the way we think, our behavior, our values, our morals, and our principles. So I'm saying the root of the problem is not the things we do. It is the origin of where it comes from. And that is our conditioning, our behavior, values, morals, principles, and actions. That's the root of where it comes from. What we are doing is a result of the conditioning. This is what it's producing. Just like when you have sex with someone that you don't know, their background or their history, the consequences of that, in many cases, is a STD, a sexually transmitted disease, or they have a child that neither one of y'all wanted. So it's not the STD that is the problem. It's not the unwanted child that is the problem. The root of it is the sex. And then going back even further from the sex is because before you made the decision, it had to come out of something. It came out of the behavior, the values, the morals, the principles, the actions. And that comes from the conditioning, the false information, miseducation, and indoctrination. So it all goes back to the root. Though you made that decision to have sex and the consequences that came out of that, but it's even deeper than that. So we have to change our mindset. change our behavior, change our actions, our values, our morals, and our principles. That's the only way that we can change the person that we are. Remember, I did the same thing. It took me years to go through the transformation that I went through. But I did it. And when I went through that transformation, I never saw sex the same way that I used to see it years ago. So it changed me as a person, as a man, and as a human being. I no longer looked at the opposite sex to please my sexual desires for gratification and recreation. No, I saw the totality of the human being. I saw the opposite sex, a woman, as being more than just someone to please my desires. I saw the wholeness of her as a person, as a woman, and as a human being. That's what changed my state of mind. So I don't deal with or look at or view her the way I used to. All that came as a result of me going through the transformation. So when I went through that transformation, I was able to now evaluate all of the decisions and choices before I made them in my life. And sex was one of them. So I'm not going to enter a relationship, a sexual relationship with a woman. And I know that there's nothing there only based upon gratification and recreation. Nah, I'm not going to do that. Because I know that that is now the wrong way to go when you deal with that. And all of that took time for me to grow, mature, and develop as a person, a man, and a human being. If I didn't do that, I would never have looked at the woman the way I view her today. Because I was caught up just like many young brothers caught up. And it's not just young brothers. It's a lot of young females. They caught up too. So don't make it seem like, I don't want to make it seem like that. It's just men. No, it's women also. Who's selling sex? Women. They're the ones who's prostitutes. Many women all around the world doing that. In some places it's legal. Like in Nevada, they do it where it's legal. So it's not just men. It's also women. In fact, in many cases, it is the female who is really the initiator when it comes to sex. Now, that's not to say that you know, there's something bad about the woman, no. I would never support that kind of idea. But what I'm saying is that in many cases, if the female don't approve of the sex, it's not going to happen. Plain and simple. If she don't approve, it's not going to happen. Because the man is always ready. But if the female says no, then it's not going to happen. If she says yes, then it's going to happen. Because in 99% of the times, the man is going to go in accordance with whatever decision that the woman makes. He's going to have to. If she say no, he can't do nothing. That's it. But if she says yes, he can always decide that he don't want to do it. But of course, we all know in many cases that that doesn't happen. The man is like, he's whatever. If she says yes, okay, that's it. So I'm saying it's not, in many cases, the man, it is, the initiator is the woman. She makes the choice as to whether she want to or she don't want to. And her choice is what determines what the man will do. Now, of course, you have, in some cases, which is very rare, that the man is the one who makes the choice. And I know that to be true from experience, because as many times when I was younger, females wanted to have sex, and I'm like, nah, I'm not messing with her. For whatever reason, I made that decision. It was my decision. She was ready and willing, but I'm like, nah. But those cases are rare. So rare that they need not even be mentioned. That's why I said that the female, in most of the cases, is the initiator. Because she decides whether it's going to happen or it's not going to happen. That's the power of sex that she has with a man. And that's not all men. I'm talking about, in most cases, that is what happens. Of course, I'm not one of those men. But years ago, yeah, I fell in that same category. When she decided, okay, we're going to do it. But when I went through that transformation, no. My decision is just as much as important as hers. So I realized that I have to see her first as a person, as a woman, and as a human being before we even go to even thinking about sex. So changing my perception and changing my state of mind about how I view sex came from the root of the problem, which was changing the conditioning that I was under. It would have never happened if I didn't change the conditioning that I was under. Because you got many today that call themselves conscious, say they have all this knowledge and experience and all of this and all that. They fall in the same category. They do the same thing. So it's no different. So we have to understand that if you still have that conditioning, then that's the root of how you make your decisions and choices. Doesn't matter that you might be well educated, went to the best colleges and universities. Because remember, I just spoke about Freaknik. Those was college students. And they was going there to have sex. That's just the reality. They was going there to have sex. Yeah, they partied and danced and, dealt with drugs and alcohol, but they was going there to have sex. It became a big thing where it wasn't just college students anymore. It was people that wasn't going to no colleges or no universities. They was going there because they knew it was a lot of females going to be there. And they was having sex. That's why Atlanta became the STD capital in the United States. Let me say that. Let me say that again. That's why Atlanta became the STD capital in the United States. Because so many people was going there and doing this. So you got a lot of diseases running rampant down there. And you got all kind of other stuff going on too, with a bunch of other people down there having sex that is not the normal of sex. So that's why that happened like it happened. So when people talk about Atlanta, it's a lot of things that stand out that many times they don't even mention. But that is the case. So be mindful of the kind of choices and decisions that you make when you decide to have sex with someone. Look at their background, their history. There's a lot of free clinics that you can take them to. I'm not an advocate of, just don't have sex. No, I'm talking about that. That's ridiculous. I would never say nothing like that. That's one of the most wonderful experiences that you could ever have in the world. So I'm definitely not talking about that. What I'm saying is being conscious of the choice that you make to have sex with the person that you have it with, where you have it, and under what conditions that you do that. That's what I'm saying. Now, let me say this, that the online baby store, babybeautiful.co, is doing well. So I want to thank all the people that are supporting it and continuing to support us by purchasing items from there. I also want to say this, that you have became a part of our family by visiting our website and continuing to support us. Because remember I said, your support will help us to in turn build communities, because we need to establish businesses in order for us to build communities so that we can secure the future generations of the babies born today. We want to make sure that we secure a future for them tomorrow. That's the whole message and purpose behind me starting the online baby store. Because I'm thinking about the future generations of the babies that are being born today. When I look at these beautiful little babies that are being born today, that I see every day being held or carried by their mothers and fathers, I think that is a wonderful and beautiful thing. So let's make sure that we do all we can and all within our power to prepare a better future and better tomorrow for them. But we have to start doing it today. And your support through the online baby store, babybeautiful.co, will help me to do that. You will be joining me to help me accomplish this mission. So I want to thank all those who've already supported and are continuing to support the online baby store, babybeautiful.co. And I want to say that if you have not yet started to support the online baby store, that I'm asking you to do so, because your support will help us to build this into a household name where we want to be able to be the number one place where the mothers and fathers do their shopping for their babies. We want it to be something that they can feel proud and supporting, because there is a mission and purpose behind it, and that includes their babies also. So in supporting the online baby store, babybeautiful.co, you are contributing to the future of your own babies, a better tomorrow for them. Because everything that I raise in terms of money, finances, will be going back into helping to secure a better future for tomorrow for the babies of today. So your support with the online baby store, babybeautiful.co, will help me do that. And I'm asking you to support me 100% wholeheartedly in that mission and purpose. So with that, I'm going to say peace, and may you stay in good health.